Return of the Living Dead, 1985. Forget everything Romero taught you. In Return of the Living Dead, the undead aren't slow or stupid. They sprint, they scream, they talk. And worst of all, they can't die. A military chemical called trioxin 245 reanimates corpses, but it doesn't just bring them back. It traps them in a constant state of agony. The zombies here are intelligent. One calls for more paramedics over the radio just to ambush them. Another explains in agonizing detail that eating brains makes the pain go away. These aren't mindless monsters. They're tortured souls, desperate for relief. Shoot them in the head? Doesn't work. Burn the body? That just spreads the gas through the air and reanimates more corpses when it rains. Even severed limbs crawl after you. Every piece of them wants to kill you. And do you know the best part? The government's solution, nuking the outbreak, only spreads the gas further, creating an endless feedback loop of zombie rain. So no, there's no cure, no hope. The Ghouls. In the Fallout universe, zombies are called ghouls, and they're the end result of living too close to a nuclear blast. They're not exactly dead, just decayed. The radiation burns away their skin, warps their voices, and stretches their lives across centuries. Some ghouls stay sane. They run shops, crack jokes, and drink questionable booze. Others, they go feral. Feral ghouls are nightmare fuel. Their minds melt. Instincts take over, and suddenly, they're screeching like banshees and sprinting through ruins at you full force. They're fast, twitchy, and often travel in packs. You'll hear the scream before you see them, and by then it's probably too late. And then there are glowing ones. These high-radiation ghouls can heal other ferals with bursts of nuclear energy and trigger mini-bombs just by walking near you. One wrong step in a vault or subway, and you're swimming in a sea of irradiated corpses. The creepiest part? You can't tell when a ghoul will snap. A friendly face can go feral without warning. And in Fallout, the slow burn of radiation doesn't just kill you, it mutates your soul. These aren't zombies you survive. They're zombies you eventually become. The Undead, Game of Thrones. In Game of Thrones, death doesn't mean rest. It means recruitment. The White Walkers don't bite. They raise. Every soldier that falls becomes a white, an undead puppet bound by cold sorcery. Imagine entire battlefields flipped in minutes. Your fallen comrades? Now clawing at your throat with frostbitten hands. No ceremony. No delay. Just icy resurrection. Whites don't rot. They don't tire. They don't even flinch when you stab them. They keep swinging until you burn them or use dragon glass or Valyrian steel. Otherwise, they're practically immortal. And their numbers? Infinite. Every corpse is potential infantry. They come in swarms, silent until the moment they charge. Horses, giants, even bears. If it dies, it can be brought back. And unlike typical zombies, these don't act alone. They're commanded by White Walkers, who lead with chilling precision. Kill one of them, and any whites they raised collapse like puppets. The Night King doesn't need your land. He doesn't want your gold. He just wants silence, a world of still snow and no breath. In Westeros, winter isn't a season. It's a graveyard on patrol. 28 days later. You ever wonder how fast a world can fall apart? Try 10 seconds. That's all it takes here. In 28 days later, the infected are still alive, still breathing, still bleeding. But their minds? Hijacked by a virus called Rage that turns them into relentless killing machines. Infection happens in seconds. A drop of blood in the eye, a splash of vomit, and you go from human to predator in under a minute. There's no slow transformation, no moaning shuffle. Just red eyes, screaming lungs, and an unstoppable sprint toward the nearest warm body. The infected don't decay, they starve, which means they can remain a threat for weeks, faster, stronger, and more aggressive than any corpse. They don't strategize, but their sheer speed and mob mentality overwhelm barricades, military bases, and entire cities before anyone can react. What's terrifying is how real it feels. A virus spreading via fluid, chaos erupting in hospitals and homes. No supernatural curse, no ancient book. The revived corpses. All right, you and your friends rent a creepy old cabin in the middle of nowhere. The wood creaks. The basement door opens on its own, and there, sitting on a dusty table, is a book made of stitched skin and sealed in blood. Naturally, someone reads it out loud, because of course they do. Boom, the forest goes silent. Wind howls. And just like that, you've summoned the Deadites. These are Deadites, victims of the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, an ancient book bound in flesh and inked in blood. When read aloud, it summons demonic forces that don't just raise the dead, they hijack the soul, twist the body, and turn your best friend into a cackling, dismembered nightmare. Deadites aren't your typical zombies. They taunt, they laugh, they bleed black goo and float like poltergeists. You'll decapitate one and watch it keep giggling. Burn it, and it might dance in the flames. Their bodies bend, break, and morph into monstrous forms, sometimes growing fangs or sprouting new limbs just to mess with you. And their strength? Supernatural. A tiny possessed girl can toss a grown man across the room. They infect others with a scratch, move through trees, and turn the entire cabin into a living hell. Deadites are horror's sick joke. They're not hunting you for hunger. They're doing it because it's fun. You can't outrun them, reason with them, or even kill them the normal way. The only escape? Chainsaw, shotgun, and sheer willpower. The Berserkers, Gears of War. In the brutal world of Gears of War, the Locust Horde already throws everything at you. But then they unleash the Berserker, an unstoppable mutation of rage and raw muscle that doesn't walk. It charges. Originally female locusts, Berserkers are biologically enhanced and horrifically altered into blind monsters that hunt by sound. You could whisper, breathe, or nudge a rock, and suddenly 5 tons of meat and fury are stampeding in your direction, ready to turn you into a smear on the concrete. Bullets! They bounce off. Explosives? Just annoy them. Your only real option is a satellite-based death laser, the Hammer of Dawn. And even that's not instant. You've got to bait the Berserker into the open, dodge every charging attack, and line up your shot perfectly, all while trying not to breathe too loud. And the worst part? They aren't brainless. They remember how to hunt, how to kill. They follow your scent and smash through concrete, metal, and bone with zero hesitation. The Kikimora zombies. In The Witcher, monsters are already nightmare fuel. But when you take something like the Kikimora and reanimate it, you're looking at next-level horror. The Kikimora is a towering insectoid beast. It has the body of a spider, the limbs of a mantis, and the face of a cursed corpse. Covered in slimy, armored exoskeleton and tangled in swamp filth, this creature is horrifying enough when alive. But in the show's very first episode, Geralt doesn't face a living one. He faces a rotting, undead version dragged straight from the muck. It shouldn't be moving, but it is. It shouldn't be hunting, but it does. This zombified Kikimora doesn't need logic or hunger. It attacks with twitchy, unnatural speed, stabbing with needle-sharp legs, and dragging itself through the frozen swamp like a rotted god. Magic in The Witcher doesn't just create monsters, it keeps them alive after death. Mutant Zombie Bear, Annihilation. In Annihilation, the Shimmer is a quarantine zone where biology collapses under an alien logic. The Shimmer doesn't just mutate DNA, It scrambles it like a blender set to nightmare. Plants grow into human shapes. People merge with trees. But nothing prepares you for the bear. At first, it looks like a regular predator until it opens its mouth and screams with the voice of a dying woman. You see, this isn't just a zombie bear. It's a corpse-fused monstrosity. After mauling one of the team, the bear absorbs her dying neural imprint, mimicking her final cries whenever it attacks. So when it roams the dark, sniffing out survivors, the sound of its victim's death echoing from its jaw isn't just horrifying, it's paralyzing. And physically, it's a tank. Half decomposed, half mutated, it lumbers with exposed bone and rotted fur, dragging itself through abandoned structures like a sound-triggered landmine. The zombie bear is horror-evolved. Grief, death, and mutation fused into a single predator that not only chases you, it makes you listen to your friend's last scream before it finishes the job. So here's the tier list so far. Now tell me, how would you rank them? Drop yours below.